What up, what up? This is Coach Liebs bringing you episode 27 of Coach Talk. This is an on-the-go version, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube or Instagram. If you're listening, I'm sure you can hear a slight difference in sound quality. I don't have my at-home mic in the podcast studio that's in my office. But, you know, I had a real busy day today. Just getting a lot of content things done and had a couple client meetings with some potential sponsors early in the day, so I just didn't have time to get to it before practice. But you know, I'm just trying to get it done now, right after practice in my car, getting this out to you guys as soon as possible. Today was Wednesday, which is normally our get right day or day of execution. Like I told you guys at the beginning of the week, how, you know, a big theme for this week and you know, a real humbling thing about coaching is that you can never really settle or never be satisfied. There's never that moment where, no matter how much of a rhythm you're in, you can never get caught in that moment where you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm you know, we got this, we have this figured out. Because then you start to get complacent, and that's when a team sneaks up on you and beats you when you shouldn't get beat. So one thing we did this week was we changed our structure of practice quite a bit. 2 tough losses to in-league teams, you know, won by 3 points in overtime. Last week we got our butts kicked pretty good. So, you know, we're just like, we had 2 weeks left in the regular season, a guaranteed 1 playoff game, so 3 guaranteed weeks, but we need to win on. These next 3 weeks, we got to build to be playing our best days of football. Because again, like I've said over and over on this podcast, the great part about this league is that it doesn't matter what happened in the previous 7 weeks. As long as we start playing our best football from today going forward, you know, we're good enough to beat every team in the state. I think we've shown that to ourselves. Now we actually have to go do that and execute on that. So one thing as coaches we've tried to do to keep things, to make things a little fresh, provide some more energy and try to create more competition is we've changed the practice structure and done much less work versus the scout team and much more good on good, 1 versus 1, varsity versus varsity type of work to get more game speed, get more competition, get more energy. Because, you know, the starters, like they're all talking stuff, you know, talking junk to each other, you know, bringing up the energy levels. They want to make plays. One guy wants to beat this guy and they're talking about it. The next guy's beating that guy. You just don't, there's not that same level of competition with the scout team. But what you trade off is that, you know, we're going against the coverage, we're going against the front versus our defense that we're not necessarily going to see on Friday night. So there's a trade-off there. It means that when you're doing more good on good, you got to be great in the film room. You have to be great at saying, all right, fellas, good job reacting to the look presented in front of you. Now understand what it's actually going to look like on Friday. This probably won't happen. We probably won't see this. Here's what we're expecting. And I think if you're proactive about that, about understanding how things differ, you know, versus your varsity team, you're like, for us, for receivers, being able to explain to the kids the differences between Don Bosco's coverages and DePaul Catholic's coverages and how we expect things to change, I actually think it's a huge benefit because now the kids can't just get caught in like, oh, well, they didn't give me the look I was expecting, you know, and then it's not the exact look on game day that we practice during the week and it screws them up. They just have to learn how to run the play versus whatever's presented in front of them. And that means they have to really understand the play. That means they have to know the nuances of it. They have to know how their routes change, you know, versus different looks. And I think for us as receivers, it's been really good. It's been a little tougher with the O-line because, you know, coverage-wise, you can see anything. Front-wise, most teams are pretty consistent. They generally do less mixing up. You know, coverage-wise, especially in high school, we might play a team that's been all 1 high, and then this week they decide to play 2 high, or, you know, they only bring blitz cover 3 on 3rd down. Now they're doing it on 1st and 2nd down. Like in high school football, coverages are a crapshoot. So for me, I've really enjoyed this, the extra level of competition and us just having to figure it out on the fly rather than relying on looks from a 75% speed scout team or a lesser talented scout team that isn't really going to look like that on game day anyway, even if you get them aligned properly. So I think it's been great. Now we went pretty much all good on good Monday, Tuesday, and now today, Wednesday, day of execution, get right day, whatever you want to call it. We mixed in. We still did a lot of good on good competition, and we had scout cards where we were going against the exact look we thought we would see. The difference is we had the starting defense service our offense as the scout team, and vice versa. The starting offense was servicing our defense as the scout team. I think it's good. I feel really good. You know, there are times where you kind of change some things like this as a coach, and you don't always feel great about it, you know, looking back. And you're like, all right, you know, we tried something new, but we probably won't do that again. I think this was great. I think this was a good week for us. I think we competed much harder, and I think that the kids just had to be on their toes a little bit more, and it kind of broke up the monotony of, you know, what happens when you're 8 weeks into a football season, especially with younger high school kids. And I feel like we kind of broke that monotony this week. I'm very proud of us as coaches with that. I think it was good, and I think we brought some good energy. You know, something that I kind of on my mind for the day, is the way that a big time injury can affect the game plan. And we just heard of the fact that there's a big time injury on their side, one of their impact players. And now we're trying to think ahead. Not only, as a competitor, you kind of hate to see it, on the other side. It's like, man, if I'm going to beat these guys, I want to beat them with their full strength. I don't want to hear after a win, if we had so-and-so, we would have won. Like, as a competitor, you don't want those excuses. Let's go out there, mano y mano, and let's go rock and go prove it. But then, obviously it gives us a better chance to win. One of their impact players is out. So it's kind of bittersweet in that way. But the thing now we're on is let's think ahead and think about how this is going to change the game plan. If a DB goes down, you start to think, all right, are they gonna change their coverages to make up for this? Who's going to replace him first of all? Let's say it's a corner. And let's say you thought they were going to play a lot of press man backside or leave that corner one-on-one on an island because they trust him. Well, now that kid is out. Are they going to play more cloud coverage now to take away our best receiver? Will they play more loose coverage? Will they switch up their coverages altogether? If it's a D lineman, you got to start thinking, are they going to bring more pressure now to create a pass rush if one of their best D linemen go down? Will they start to play a different front? There's all those different things that you got to consider now. Like, we have 2 days to game plan with a completely different mindset. And now for our defense, the kid who got hurt for them played both ways. So they have to change up their defensive game plan now too, because he was an impact player on both offense and defense. The kid was a great player. And I wish him the best, man. I hope for a speedy recovery. But, it's interesting. I was at Rutgers our second year. Leonte Carew, who's, the best receiver in the Big Ten that year, was a 3rd-round draft pick. Rutgers all-time leader in receiving touchdowns. He got hurt for 3 games, and he didn't get cleared to play until Thursday. And obviously play on Saturday in college. So it was Thursday of Michigan State in 2015. And Michigan State was the number 4 team in the country then. I thought we had a great game plan going into this game. I felt really good about it. And then our best player gets cleared to play on Thursday. And it was interesting now in reverse where how our game plan, though, changed now that you have your best player. Because we didn't know if we would have him or not until Thursday. And now all of a sudden we were kind of creating 2 game plans. All right, here's the game plan without Leonte. And it was, you're obviously trying to get the ball into different people's hands. You don't have a stud receiver on the outside, so you got to change some of the things you do that way. You don't have as much trust in guys to win one-on-one matchups as you do with him. Now all of a sudden he's back. Now all the things we had in the beginning of the year are back into effect. Now the one-on-one plays that we think he can win are back into effect. Some of the concepts we're going to call, some of the 3rd down calls, when you got to go make a play 3rd and 7. Well, it's a lot different now when you got the best receiver, one of the best receivers in the country out there versus not having him. Your whole mindset changes. And what we did, he came back Thursday. I think he wasn't. There was some other stuff going on too that I won't get into. So I don't think he wasn't even cleared for practice Thursday. So me and the receivers coach ended up having a private workout with him in the bubble for like 3 hours, taking him through the whole game plan, all the strategies, the way we thought we were going to play him, and then we also worked him out and kind of kicked his ass that way to build up some conditioning because he'd been out 3 weeks and we had to get him ready to play. And had a great workout there. And then Friday, which is normally a walkthrough. It was a walkthrough for everybody except for him. And the whole day, we did like a 75-play walkthrough. And the whole day, he was full game speed with a scout team corner that was full game speed on him. And that's how we kind of tried to make up some of the reps. He got like, say there were 75 plays. He got like 60 plays of full speed, game speed reps that day versus the different looks we thought we were going to see. And he went out against Michigan State, had like, 7 catches for 148 yards and 3 touchdowns. And balled out, and we ended up losing by 3 points to Michigan State. They were the number 4 team in the country. Obviously, you want to win, but we played a great game. As that year, Rutgers, we were 4-8. We didn't have any business being in that game talent-wise. I thought we did a great job as coaches, getting Leonte ready, adjusting our game plan, executing the game plan, and giving ourselves a chance to win. Couldn't finish down the stretch against a great team, but it always sticks out in my mind, and it's always very interesting. Something we haven't really talked about much on this podcast is how do injuries affect both sides. When you lose your best player, how do you adjust and how do you make up for that? When you're going against a team that loses their best player, you have to now predict and try to have in the back of your mind, how are they going to adjust? How is this game going to be different now? How can we attack them differently? And how will they respond? So that's kind of on our mind now. Really good day today and excited to get back after it tomorrow for the walkthrough. So that's all I got. Coach Liebs, episode 27 on the go in the car, but making it happen anyway. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.